we thought we'd balance the scales tonight and take you back to the 1986 Bledisloe Cup series in New Zealand. It had been a turbulent year for the Kiwis. The Cavalier Tour of South Africa meant a 2-game ban for their top players, the single test against France and then the first test against the Australians. The Wallabies, on the other hand, had enjoyed a series win over Argentina at home and then a victory over France. And they went into the first test as favourites, an unheard of situation in New Zealand. We asked skipper Andrew Slack, New Zealand's Gary Wetton and Australian lock Steve Tyneman to reflect on each of the 3 test matches.
Well, prior to that first test in Wellington in 1986, we'd got under a lot of pressure, not necessarily just from the football point of view, but we had created a name for ourselves in '84, and we knew that to push that name and make it stick, we had to beat the All Blacks, and there'd been all sorts of pressure on us from the point of view that we hadn't played terribly well in the first few provincial games, leading into the test where New Zealand had the withdrawals through the South African or the punishment where they didn't have their full team, and so everybody expected us to cakewalk the first one in, and that adds all sorts of different pressures on top of your own game. And what we had to try to do was get that out of our minds, just work on the jobs that we know we had to do well, and get out there and do it, which in the end we did, but only very skinnily, if there's such a word.
After downing France, the baby All Blacks weren't about to surrender their newfound pride.
Stone bumping straight into Papworth. Now Kerwin, overlap here for New Zealand. Brewer, Bottica, Kerwin's inside. Kirk is there, 10 metres out. The All Blacks drive in. Lawton has it for Australia. Well, the Australians pilfered, and Farr Jones hoisting that one over his left shoulder. And what a brilliant clearing kick it was too by the Australian halfback.
Australia opened the scoring in the 18th minute after quick thinking by Farr Jones and Campese.
Farr Jones still going. Campese, yes! 20th try in a test match for Campese. First points for Australia. That's the 10-metre line, New Zealand territory. Here's Papworth. Now it's Campese.
With the South African Cavaliers due to come back for the second test, the inexperienced All Blacks absorbed Australia's pressure and were always eager to counter-attack.
On Cutler saw the ball jolt free. Arthur Stone to Bottica. Look at the overlap for New Zealand. Halfway line. Terry Wright chases, so does Peter Grigg. Wright.
Australia led 9-0 at the break, but faced the fierce southerly wind for the second half. New Zealand closed to 9-6, and then the Wallabies responded superbly.
Pass back to Campbell. Now it's Cutler. Poitevin supports. 22-metre line. Farr Jones to Lawton, the only man on the blind side. Now they go again. Papworth. Campese. Now it must be a try. Matthew Burke. That's the one Australia was wanting. Arthur Stone.
Enjoying a 7-point lead, the Australians looked secure until a mistake by Campese saw the hungry New Zealanders pounce.
Terry Wright, the tackler. Long pass, dangerous. Joe Stanley for the line. Joe Stanley. Great tackle. Brooke Cowden.
It was a very hard game to prepare for as well, with half the team coming back in, another half going out, etc., and get to know each other's play and believing in each other's play and been playing together for a while. And that's the hard point about it. And we always knew we had an uphill battle, and it was a very good Australian team, and okay, we turned it around by 1 point that time.
Australia won up, but Gary Wetton, one of 9 Cavaliers, called on for the second test, one that started badly for the Wallabies.
Going with Farr Jones. Bottica charged the ball down. Play on, says the referee. Slack racing back, so is Grigg. Slack there for Australia. He's in trouble. 5-metre scrum. New Zealand working Australia back. John Kerwin, short side. This is the move they call Bird, and Kirk's over. Great play by the New Zealand skipper.
We're Australian forwards have really got to get this ball and just hold on and we'll try and peel away down that sideline.
The Australians spent long periods turning back New Zealand's onslaught. To the man, they responded magnificently.
Charging in. Trouble here for the Wallabies. Short side, Bodiger. Craig Green. 3 tries for Canterbury last week. Now it's Bodiger to Gary Knights. The Manawatu Sheik Farmer. Hickareen. Low body position. Kirk again. Taylor. In off his right foot. Michael Liner, the tackler. New Zealand pounding remorselessly at the Australian goal line. Kerwin went without it. Stanley picks up. Bodiger now for the line. Inside is Brewer. It must be almost a try. He was short. Well, how close can you get?
In the second half, the Wallabies squeezed back from a 13-3 deficit through the right boot of Michael Liner.
Liner, a drop goal. He's raised the flags. This may be a Gary Owen. And here come the Wallabies. Knocked forward there by New Zealand.
Trailing 13-9, the Australians realised a converted try could clinch the series.
Gary
Dynamic halfback Far Jones led the way.
Far Jones, still going. Tyman, it must be a try. Miller, is he there? No. Held up. See, Tyman turns around in disgust. He still has the ball. He's thrown it away.
And as we see this move, it was a great run again by that man, Nick Far Jones, went straight through, well supported by Steve Tyneman, and that was a try. There's no doubt about that, that Steve Tyneman put that ball over the line.
Well, the only person that seems to believe that it wasn't a try was the referee at the time, but I think everybody at the game and also even the All Blacks thought it was a try, so it was disappointing at the time. It was very crucial because we would have won the series then. There was 4 games left leading up to the third, including the third test, and I remember for about the week after that game, the test side just did, went and did aerobics and played golf instead of just the normal rugby type training, just to get it, because it was very disappointing to us.
The Carisbrook result meant a 1-point difference for the 4th test in a row. At Eden Park, the Wallabies were playing for a place in history, the first Australian team to win a 3-test series in New Zealand.
Brett Papworth, must be a try if he can pick it up, Leeds. He's going for the line, he's there in his first test. What a moment for Andrew Leeds. Australia still leading by 12-6. It's a huge kick by Liner. Close to the touchline, Craig Green.
The All Blacks adopted a running game from the opening whistle, an approach which produced some breathtaking rugby.
Bodiger. Stone. Inside is Bodiger. Now it's Kerwin. Dazzling running from the All Blacks. Hickareen. 22-metre line, Australia. Bodiger again to Stanley. Crowley's in. Craig Green tripped over his man. And there we had a knock-on by New Zealand.
But the Wallabies' defence responded well beyond the call of normal duty.
Will run it. Crowley to Bodiger. Couldn't get the pass to Kerwin, but here's Stanley supporting. The Australians really stretched at the moment. Kerwin on the short side. Now he flicks it back the open. They're short on numbers out here. Tommy Lawton was the tackler. Campbell toes ahead. This is Gary Knight, the tight head prop. Kirk is there. And now it's Craig Green. Slack, the tackler. Clever play by Green. Leeds did well. Wetton. The ball being kept alive by New Zealand. Here they go again. Overlap. Stone. Crowley's outside. Kerwin. New Zealand still charging ahead. Brewer. Just short.
Despite the positive approach, New Zealand trailed by 6 points at half-time. The match was played at breakneck pace, and slowly but surely, New Zealand's spirit was broken in the second half. 2 Liner penalties saw the lead increase to 18-9, and then it was left for Campese to deliver the final knockout punch.
Overlap for Campese, he's there! Australia has won the Bledisloe Cup for only the 5th time in its history. The Wallabies only the 4th touring side to win a series on New Zealand soil, and the 86 Wallabies also the first Australian team to win a 3-test series here.
So Australia joining the 1937 Springboks and the 73 British Lions as the only touring teams to win a major series on New Zealand soil.